I was working in the office when my coworker suddenly sent me a message asking for help. The thing is, he's been dead for 2 weeks. I stared at my phone and refreshed the app just to be sure it wasn't a bug, but it was still there in my inbox, sent just 3 minutes ago. Even his status showed active, in focus mode, with a green dot. I practically ran to HR and showed her my screen with Nico's message. She pulled up his file and frowned, turning the monitor toward me. Nico's status says deceased. Death certificate filed 14 days ago. Life insurance claim processed. You know what? This might just be a glitch. She phoned the IT to check the system. While she was on the phone, I went back to my desk and pulled up a project that was assigned to the team. There were fresh comments, new functions, bug fixes with his signature style of naming variables. It had to be him. My hands started shaking as I replied to his message on Slack. Dude, what's going on? Aren't you dead? He replied instantly. I am. Just forget I spoke to you. His status went offline after that, but I couldn't let it go. He had a family, a successful career, even a promotion right before the accident. He wasn't the type to run. So after work, I drove straight to Nico's house and asked to speak with his wife. She answered the door with red eyes and tissues in hand and invited me in. Everyone said I was crazy when I told them he was still alive somewhere, but no one would listen. She blew her nose into a tissue and continued. The police said he died instantly, that no body could be recovered because the car exploded on impact. I tried to tell them that there had to be more going on. That same week, Nico had been weirdly agitated. He kept checking the windows, the locks on our doors. I asked her if he'd said anything about work. She nodded and wiped her eyes. He said he discovered something at work that could get him fired or worse. I told him to go to the police, but he said he needed more proof first. Then she paused and looked at me carefully. The night before he died, he grabbed my shoulders and made me promise something. He said if anything happened to him, don't trust Ray. My mouth went dry. Ray was our manager. He had been nothing but supportive since Nico's death, even taking on extra work himself to cover the projects. I was up all night thinking about everything that had happened. That's when an email popped up on my personal inbox saying, stop digging or you'll be next. But just knowing that Nico could still be out there somehow, I couldn't stop. I went over to the IT department the next day and went straight to my friend Vincent. He was the only person I trusted who had admin access to everything. I showed him Nico's messages and the threat. Will you help me? We just need enough evidence to go to the police and reopen the case. Vincent locked his office door and began accessing Nico's work email account together. There, we found cryptic exchanges between him and Ray from the week before the car crash. Nico had warned Ray, I'm going to report this to the CEO if you don't explain now. And Ray coolly responded with, let's meet tomorrow morning before you do anything rash. Vincent pulled up Nico's calendar and confirmed that he had a scheduled meeting with the CEO and HR about an urgent compliance matter. Suddenly, Nico's account went active again. Vincent's fingers flew across the keyboard. I can trace the IP in real time if he's online now. The location popped up on his screen just before Nico disappeared again. The address led to an abandoned warehouse in the industrial district, 40 minutes away. Vincent reached for his phone, already calling 911 when I grabbed my keys. Give them the location. I'll head there first myself. The warehouse looked like it hadn't been used in years. Broken windows, rusted doors, weeds growing through the concrete. I found a broken window and saw Nico on the other side, chained to a desk with 3 monitors in front of him. He looked exhausted, unshaven, wearing the same clothes from weeks ago. I quickly pulled out my phone, snapping pictures while I looked around for the entrance. Just then, the door slammed open and Ray walked in carrying a gun and a duffel bag stuffed with cash. Project's done. Time to clean up loose ends. He pulled back the safety. Nico's voice was hoarse. You promised you'd let me go when I finished everything. What about my daughter? Ray laughed. Oh, you believe that? Can't have witnesses to embezzlement, Nico. You should have minded your own business. I accidentally knocked over a trash can trying to get a better view just before the trigger was pulled. Ray spun around and pointed the gun at me, shaking his head. Seriously? I left you a warning. Doesn't anybody read these days? That's when we heard the sirens. Ray looked at the window, then at Nico, then at me. You sly son of a beach. He stuffed the rest of his money in a bag and booked it just as the police burst through the door. The officers started to chase him when Nico screamed at the top of his lungs. Wait! My daughter, please! He pointed to one of the monitors showing a video feed of a teenage girl at dance class being watched from a distance. The police split up. They tracked down the daughter and arrested the accomplice, but Ray escaped. But 2 hours after giving our statements, our phone buzzed. A Slack message from Ray appeared with a video attached. My wife and Nico's wife were tied up, crying with duct tape covering their mouths. Miss me? One last project. 48 hours. No police this time. I knew I had a decision to make. Full story on channel linked below.